right, folks, Dr. Ben here. Now it's time for that segment you love called Headline or Hoax. Now, I'm going to read two headlines. One is an actual medical headline, and one is a hoax. We're going to have Dr. Jennifer and hilarious Marcus Saputo, comedian, try to find out which one's the headline. And so my email is flooded with these bizarre headlines that actually happen. And so some of them I don't even believe, but I fact check and they're actual real headlines. So there's plenty of material in these headlines, but let's read our two headlines, and we're going to have Dr. Jennifer and Marcus determine which one is real. Now, in previous episodes, some have both guessed the correct one, some have both guessed the incorrect one, and they've split. And so we're going to have some good discussion here on these headlines. All right, listener, you play along too. Let us know which one you think is the headline. Headline number one is, surgeons remove 232 teeth from teen's jaw. Surgeons remove 232 teeth from teen's jaw. That's our first headline. We're going to see if that's real or a hoax. All right, headline number two. Drinking lemon juice reverses gray hair in 90 days. Drinking lemon juice reverses gray hair in 90 days. All right, the guests here are going to guess which one is real and which one is a hoax. And listener, you be thinking which one's real, which one's a hoax. All right. All right. And then let's see, what are you guys kind of thinking preliminarily here about? What do you think sounds like?
I don't even know how many teeth we have as it is. So
probably about, 32 or so, I think.
32?
Maybe 16 in each. Top and bottom, something like that. I'm not a dentist. But
yeah, I'm not either. So, that's a lot of teeth, dude.
Right. For one jaw.
This dude's,
part shark, maybe.
Yeah, he sounds like a beluga whale or something. I don't even know.
Yeah, that can't be.
A lot of teeth, but I feel like the lemon juice thing, I feel like if that were real, nobody would have gray hair.
That's right.
Yeah.
But maybe they just don't like the lemon juice. They'd rather have gray hair.
Maybe so.
Yeah, maybe it's like you got to drink, a whole glass of straight lemon, like an unbearable amount.
Right.
Right? So.
Yeah.
And maybe like bathe in it.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh-huh.
All right. Well, are you ready for the big reveal? Let's see. If you guys can point your answers to the camera, which one did you pick?
I picked number one.
The 232 teeth.
Yes.
Yeah, I have a feeling it's number one, but I picked number two because I'm a believer.
And hoping that you don't have to worry about it yet.
I don't want the nightmares of 200 teeth in my head.
Yes.
So I'm praying for lemon juice.
All right. Well, listener, drum roll, please. Sound effect person. I need a Foley actor on the show. I can do some sound effects. All right. You've heard of Foley actors, right? They do the sound effects.
Oh, yeah.
We use different Foleys in our line of work, but Foley catheters that drain your bladder. All right, folks. The actual real headline, Dr. Jennifer is right. Surgeon removes 232 teeth, that's a tongue twister, from a teen's jaw. That was an actual headline back in 2014. So,
wow.
Can you believe that?
Is he all right?
I think he's.
Did they put dentures in?
Hopefully they left some in there.
Yeah, what?
Left a few there behind.
Sounds like he's got no jaw left, if you ask me, Bo.
I wonder if they gave him a little plaque, that surgeon, for taking out all those teeth.
He might have, yeah. Did he get to keep the teeth is what I'm wondering. He's like, you want to see like...
Tooth fairy.
Yeah. He's like, hey, you ever seen 150 teeth before? I'd be showing it. I'd carry it around in my pocket. I'm like, you want to see 150 teeth? Check these out.
Make a necklace or something.
Yeah.
That's right.
Uh-huh.
Do you think for the tooth fairy, do you put them all under your pillow at once or just one at a time for the next 232
big one
days?
for a big payout, I think.
Yeah, I go all at once.
All at once?
He comes and gives you like
what if you
$5 grand.
Yeah. What if you fixed it at like $20? Like I should have done one a day.
Yeah, I would have done that. I would track him down and shake him down for more money. I say, this is impressive how many teeth I got. You pay me more.
That's right. I love it. Okay. Yeah, I think they gave that surgeon a little crown, maybe.
Yes.
Taking out all those teeth.
That's right.
All right, folks. All right, folks. Now, Dr. Ben here. We have Dr. Jennifer, a hospitalist, and we have Marcus Saputo, comedian and construction worker. Now, I will have to say, kind of on a job spectrum, I'm closer to Bob the Builder than House MD. So I'm kind of more related with our power tools and fixing things.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Jennifer's probably what the listener thinks of as, when they think of a doctor. They don't think of someone swinging power tools and hammers and that. So they think of someone smart figuring out their medical problems. So, all right. Well, folks, are you ready for the Dr. Ben Buzz Battle? Ben Buzz Battle. It's like vitamin B3. We're serious all day long. And here with Dr. Ben and Friends, we need to decompress. And in this segment, we have the comedian become the surgeon. So we have Dr. Marcus Saputo here, who Dr. Jennifer will help him put on some gloves and a hat for surgery here.
Yes. So we have the gown on already to help keep us nice and sterile.
Mm-hmm.
You have two different hats you can choose from, the bouffant and then the typical surgeon's cap.
I want the surgeon's cap.
Perfect.
The surgeon, all right.
Perfect.
We don't want your hair getting into the surgical field here.
That's right. That's
looking good.
Yes, that's perfect.
I wanted to sit on the very top
Yes.
like this.
Almost like a pope.
Yes.
If I look like the Pope, that's what I'm going for.
That's wonderful.
I
Next,
love
you'll
it.
have some gloves. The gloves definitely need to be on so that we can stay sterile and not get anything foreign in our patient.
Yes. Hopefully
Putting it on with the rings.
all right. If the glove don't fit,
Hey.
You must quit.
that's right. Have you ever thought of being a surgeon or
Not
surgery?
a
Does that?
single time.
Okay.
Dr. Ben, if you haven't noticed, I'm in the trades, and guys in the trades usually don't have formal education. So I'm not going to school for
Because you're too
45
smart to,
years.
right, you're too smart to,
45
I'm not
years.
going to school for
And then our last step is our mask to make sure we keep any germs in our mouth out of our patient.
Who is that masked man, they say. All right. All right, we're getting Dr. Marcus all suited up for surgery. And then we have the classic Hasbro game here where Dr. Marcus is going to cure our patient Tony of 12 different ailments here. And so before we begin, we must perform a timeout. Now, listener, a timeout is performed before every surgery if you go into surgery to make sure we have the correct patient, the correct surgeon, correct operative site, what we're doing. And so we don't like wrong site surgeries or anything. So we're going to time out. Everybody listen up. This is Tony with the red nose from the land of Hasbro. He has 12 ailments that Dr. Marcus is going to help him with. Now, Dr. Marcus will have 60 seconds to remove as many ailments as he can from Tony here. If you hear a buzz, Dr. Marcus, just move on to the next one and we'll see how many you get in 60 seconds. Are you ready, Dr. Marcus?
Yeah, Tony's looking rough over here.
Tony,
Okay,
you're going to
Tony's-
help him with.
Tony's in the
Now-
best hands.
He's in good hands.
Yeah.
Dr. Allstate here.
All right.
I'm going to start the timer and you'll have 60 seconds to remove as many ailments. If it buzzes and his nose lights up, then we'll move on to the next one. All right. All right. Ready, Dr. Marcus?
All right.
Here we go. All right,
Foot
Dr.
fungus.
Marcus. He's looking for a lot of different ailments here. Oh, that's okay. He's now trying to
get the
remove his
heart.
heart. Wow, look at that. The precision
Excellent
of a surgeon.
precision. Yes,
Remove the
perfect.
heart.
Yeah.
Wow, look at
Wonderful.
Dr. Marcus go.
Oh, you got a duck
like-
in your hand,
There's a
guy.
duck. That would
You got to
cause
watch
some-
out for those pesky ducks.
That's right. Oh, butterflies in the stomach.
Yeah.
Marcus probably has butterflies in his stomach when he's performing
Oh.
stand-up. That's okay. Dr. Marcus, you're doing great.
Doing wonderful.
Don't worry. Comedy is
That's right.
comedy is much easier than surgery.
Better with a microphone.
That's right. Can we get him a microphone as an instrument? Okay.
Precision is
Look at
beautiful.
Dr. Marcus. Don't be rattled, Dr. Marcus. You got this. Got a little performance. Oh, I have good feelings about this, Dr. Marcus. Wow, look at Dr. Okay, Dr. Marcus.
Perfect.
All
You got
right.
the most important one, and that was the broken heart you have resolved.
Right.
Hey,
Fixing
I
the broken
resolve
heart.
broken hearts. What can I say?
I really like my cardiologist. Actually, he's a man after my own heart.
That's right. That's right.
Never lie to your cardiologist, listener. They can spot a fib from a mile away.
That's right.
They can spot a fib. All right, good job, Dr. Marcus.
Yes, thank you.
All right, listener. If you have access to this game, listener, I want to see how many ailments you can get. Can you beat Dr. Marcus in 60 seconds? All right, let us know in the comments. All right, folks. Dr. Marcus did such a fine job in surgery. Right out of surgery, we have Dr. Marcus with us. So he's going to read our next ad. It's a common sense healthcare ad we wish existed, actually, from Dr. Ben and friends, because real sponsors still don't know our awesome podcast exists yet.
Yes, this episode of the Dr. Ben and Friends podcast is brought to you by the Super Spleen Strengthener Serum, guy. Boost your spleen performance by 300%. Perfect for those who know what a spleen does, because I don't, and want it to be the best, which sounds good. Warning. May cause your organs to form a union and demand better working conditions. Union 42, give us more money, guy.
Dr. Jennifer, what is the spleen?
Yeah, so it's an organ that plays vital roles in the body with the immune system, platelet production, and things like that. Yeah.
Marcus, where do you think the spleen is on your body?
Yeah, well, you point to your head. You think I think it's in my head?
I don't.
Is that what you
know.
think?
Where do you think it is?
I think it's in your neck. No.
Yeah, is it?
No, I think the spleen. What does the spleen do? Platelet reduction. I mean,
Yeah.
production. Has something to do with.
It does.
It's something to do with the body. It's something. Your spleen. Is it in your kind of towards your back?
It's more in the left upper part right here,
Okay.
kind of in the front side of your abdomen, just underneath the ribs on the
Okay.
left side.
Yeah, I do that. I was just making
That's
sure
just-
you're
yeah.
brushed
Checking.
up on your education
thank you.
after
Thank
your
you.
45 years of schooling.
That's
Sometimes people have to have their spleen removed.
right. Yes,
So you don't need it to survive, but it is.
it is vital. And it can also be, you hear it a lot with mono. People get their spleen to be enlarged. And if you have like abdominal trauma, it can actually cause it to rupture, which is a surgical emergency, has to be removed.
So I actually have a question. So I box, and when you get hit in the kidney,
Mhm.
it will put you down. I was sparring last weekend. Kid hit me in the kidney. I had to take a knee.
Yes.
What is that reaction from? Like, what's happening when that happens?
It's basically a nerve overload when they hit that kind of shocks the nerve and then it kind of incapacitates you.
Yeah. Okay.
hmm
Good to know.
And sometimes contact sports like football, you could rupture a spleen too if you get hit hard
Yeah.
enough, and that's kind of medical emergency. Guard your spleen and your
Yes.
jaw.
Yeah. It's a
Yeah.
good. Yeah. I would
Good advice.
recommend it for most.
All right.